Thank you. And morning, afternoon, and all those good salutations wherever you're at in the country joining us today. My name is DaveWeiner. We're going to get started here right now. I want to introduce you to my digital insurance platform. This is your blueprint to becoming an elite insurance producer. If you hadn't been there before, and for most of you, I know the answer is no. This program is going to take you into the top 1% of all insurance producers because we have, by far today, finally, the greatest life insurance lead of all time, and we're going to prove it today. That is me speaking a couple of years ago in Minneapolis, Minnesota, convention, 4,500 insurance people attending, and today is the beginning, but my name is DaveWeiner. I'm going to give you a little bit about my background, just a few of my credentials. I am currently a field CEO with Freedom Equity Group. As crazy as it is, I'm in my 36th year in this business. I've had a very blessed career. I've made a lot of money, and I can't complain about that. The Blue Cross companies in Illinois, Texas, New Mexico, which became Healthcare Service Corporation 17 years ago, did a whole paragraph about myself in their annual report because I was part of something new, folks. I am considered one of the pioneers of what you and I would call today the new type of life insurance, living benefits. And because I was one of the pioneers, I was back there at the very beginning 20 years ago, back in 1998, I was asked to participate in the first world conference on that product. And I got to tell you, just to give you a little bit of history before I go to the next slide, because I think it's important to understand where I'm coming from. The gentleman that created the new type of insurance was an infamous heart surgeon. Maybe you remember his name, maybe not, but his name was Dr. Marius Bernard. And Dr. Bernard, he and his brother Christian did the first human-to-human heart transplant back in December of 1967. They did miraculous surgeries. They prolonged life. And they went to the insurance industry and changed the way it was done. They helped create and design the very first living benefits critical illness insurance contract, and it was introduced in 1995 in the United Kingdom. And yeah, the UKers embraced it. They spent out of pocket $45 billion in premium in the first 3 years. 20 years ago, it was introduced in Australia, Canada, Japan, and the United States. Almost every country, with the exception of the USA, welcomed the new stuff with open arms. The Japanese, 1 in 4 households bought the new stuff the very, very first year. In America, LIMRA, that's the LIMRA, the research arm of the insurance industry, projected that we would do a bigger job than the UKers. They said we were going to do $70 billion in premium in the first 3 years with the new stuff. It's 20 years later. 99+% of the policies in force in America is not the new stuff. The life insurance industry continues to wrap its hands and embrace products that don't pay claims. They just don't like the new stuff. And while there's a few companies out there that market the new stuff in America, the majority of life insurance companies and the majority of what's left of our field force out there have either no clue or no desire to do the right thing. Now, just to give a little bit of history of my agency that I'm part of, we started, oh my God, a long time ago, back in the early 90s. And we had traditional pay systems, and our average premium back then was tiny, $70 a month. We had 8 producers, and we did 1.6 million. In 92, we introduced a floating management bonus, And you want to know something? We recruited over 8,000 agents that year and did 16 million in premium with small premiums, mind you. And over the next 4.5 years, paid out over $100 million in commissions. And we did sell our agency 4.5 years later for 45 million plus, and we shared 2/3 of that sale with our field force. We really were a pure agent-owned agency. We were captive for a handful of years, and then we re-entered the marketplace as Freedom Equity Group. Some of you know of us, some of you don't, but today we are the living benefits agency. We're consistently either first, second, or third in the companies that we do business in. One of the companies that we embrace, that I spend most of my time promoting, is a company that is worldwide. And because they're worldwide, they embrace the new stuff. And I do not promote any carrier that does not do the new stuff. And we teach and train that in our trainings. But that particular company is AIG. And AIG has vetted us, gave us the keys to be one of their larger marketing distributions. And at times we've been as much as #1 in production to #3, and then we've bounced all over the place. But I'm going to tell you right now, they're my company. They're my go-to. They employ 56,000 people in 130 countries. They insure, folks, 90% of the Fortune Global 1000 companies. And they are the 42nd largest company in the world. To me, that's a big deal. And in America, 40% of the Forbes 400, that's the richest in America, 40% of the Forbes 400 richest do their insurance and assets with AIG. Now, our agency was asked to be part of, a couple of years ago, the first documentary ever done on the new type of insurance. It was hosted by James Earl Jones. And when that documentary was done, one of our clients was part of that documentary. And that's our client right there. That's Dr. John right there. He was a cardiologist out of Massachusetts. And I'm going to tell you something. He did not buy the life insurance policy because it was the new stuff. He bought it because it was an asset-based insurance contract. And he was excited, and he plunked down $50,000 out of his pocket in lump sum and committed to $2,000 a month, $24,000 a year. The asset-based life insurance contract was a modern-day index universal life policy. And folks, it had a $900,000 face amount. Now, in the documentary that's on our website, he was interviewed, and he gives the technical term for throat cancer. But a month after he purchased the policy and got through the underwriting process, he didn't pass his next physical, and he was diagnosed with throat cancer. And the bottom line was, he basically picked up the phone and was actually contemplating and asking for his money back because he had other life insurance. And the reason he bought this plan was because he wanted to have an asset-based program, but now he was going to have to fight for his life. Now, the agent that took that call assisted him in filing a claim, even though he was astonished and didn't understand what he had purchased. He said, "I'm not dead. How can we file a claim?" And the agent told me, "You don't really understand what you have." But the reality was, this was the new type of life insurance, and we filed a claim. And 6 weeks later, we deposited $734,000 into his checking account. Now, you want to know how powerful this is? This guy did not die. He was not terminally ill. In fact, today, 2 years later, the cancer is in remission. Now, I'm going to do a footnote. One of the companies that embraces this new technology, I want you to listen very carefully. They paid out $1 billion in life insurance death claims between 2010 and 2014. Their average age of a life insurance death claim was 45 years of age. And the average length of time that they had a policy on the books was 8 years. And the one thing that all these people had in common, and they had in common with Dr. John here, is that none of them were dead. I want you to imagine the new type of life insurance. Now, this is not Band-Aid insurance like buying a cancer policy or a stroke policy, reasons that the American insurance industry has fought this thing left and right. I want you to understand, with the new type of insurance, we have the ability that if you had a heart attack next month, a stroke, a cancer, kidney failure, ALS, coma, paralysis, severe burn, can't do 2 of your 6 daily functions, the ability to release up to 90% of your life insurance money up front without you dying. What if I did pay off your house next month? You got sick, we paid off your home. And what if the life insurance death benefit was big enough to go back to the insurance company, and instead of using disability income, take that death benefit and turn it into a guaranteed income stream until your client takes their last breath? And if they are married, and the key here, if they are married, the ability to reroute that income to their spouse if they do succumb to their illness or injury. They're not here, but the money they were making was guaranteed until their spouse died. And in America, our average claims is not 45, it's 43 years of age. Half of our onset claims are between 41 and 50 years of age. And the masses, they don't have the good stuff. They just don't. And by the way, in America, if you're stricken by a bad illness under 65, it's a 70% chance you'll survive. And why is all this knowledge important about the things that we do? Because this is what we do. We replace policies. So let's talk about you. Why are you here? Why are you frustrated? What was in our advertising or word of mouth, or you heard of us? Why are you watching this? And I got to answer that, because up to this point, it's not working for you anymore. It's just not. Does telemarketing work anymore? I don't think so. I don't pick up a phone call from a stranger. If I don't recognize the number, caller ID kills most calls. People don't answer calls from numbers they don't recognize. How's the mailman doing these days? Well, I was a huge advocate of direct mail for most of my career. And guess what? It don't work anymore. Why? Because we're an online world, folks. We bank online. We do our business online. We pay our bills online. I don't go to the mailbox except maybe once a week, and most of it's just junk mail. What about the email marketing? You know, everybody says, well, just get online, market on email. Are you opening up emails from strangers? Opening up an attachment from a stranger? I don't think so. What about cold calling, knocking on someone's door? I don't know if you've been dealing with the millennials anymore. The millennials don't want you at the kitchen table. The days of sitting at the kitchen table, showing your wears and tears, those days are over. What about just marketing on the internet to get them to call you? Really? How's that working for you? I don't have deep enough pockets and I make a bucket load. I know for a fact you cannot get enough customers to go on the internet, find you, go through the search engines, and then pray to God they pick up the phone. That doesn't work either. Most agents don't succeed because they don't have deep pockets and they don't have the skills or the knowledge of how to survive in the millennium. Half of the independent agents in the last decade have left this industry because they don't know how to prosper in the 21st century. We're going to change all of that right now. I love Uber. And for those of you that have studied Uber, we are the Uber of insurance. Uber is my favorite company in the world. I love their model. They recruit Uber drivers every day, and they recruit them by the tens of thousands. And you want to know something? All they got to do is push an app on a phone, and they're live. and then Uber sends them through modern technology customers. Well, we do the exact same thing in the life industry. We train you, we vet you, we bring you in, and when you push a button on your computer, we send customers to you as long as you're logged in all day long, Monday through Friday, from 9 in the morning to 6 at night. No, we don't do weekends. No, we don't do evenings. We know what we're doing. It works. And we want you to take 10 plus customer calls a day, and we do not charge you for that customer call. Now, here's some major features of our program. You get to work from your home or your office. Why? Because every presentation that you're doing is done via your computer. Every call comes in via the computer. And we use shared screen technology. In fact, we record every meeting, every appointment, and we give it to the customer. Why do we give it to the customer? Even if they don't buy from us, because I love transparency. There's no more cold calling. There's no more driving, being stood up. Take 10 to 15 calls a day. And by the way, if your sales skills are not that great, or you haven't mastered our program to the degree you need to master it to be a closer, guess what? You can take the customer call, tee it up to a screen share, and have one of our vetted, trusted closers close the deal for you. I'm going to tell you about closing deals. In the last 2 days before I recorded this meeting, on Friday, I sat down and I did one, and I generated $1,500 in income for a gentleman that's a licensed life agent out of New York. Yesterday, I took a gentleman who was out of the Ozarks, and we did a sale for him in Idaho and generated for him over $9,000 of income. Yeah, we are that good, and we have unlimited amounts of customers. We replace life insurance contracts. We're going to replace Wall Street assets. Let me ask you something. If you're an insurance agent and you understand all this, how would you deal with a table G smoker? What if I told you, we're going to blow your mind. I took a guy who'd been here 30 years with Prudential Management, and we did a case for him the other day. The client came in highly rated, and tobacco. And we actually demonstrate how to beat Wall Street. No, not kind of, annihilated. And when you learn how to do that, that's amazing. We do move qualified money. And we know the rules of the Department of Labor. And we have all the tools and disclosures so that you are absolutely Department of Labor compliant. You can work with our customers and allow our closers, like I said, to close the sales for you. Or you can become extremely good at closing sales, and guess what? Never have to sit there and take the initial calls from the computer. Become one of our closer mentors, and all you got to do is wake up on any given day and have in your schedule 5 to 7 closings a day. Wow. Are you that good? I hope so, because God knows we need more closers. Let me introduce how this is all possible. We have state-of-the-art customer acquisition centers in countries like Jamaica, the Philippines. And what they do is they outbound call business owner list. And when they identify a business owner, a manager, an employee with an in-force life insurance contract, they transfer that person live. They don't ask you to call that person back. They transfer that person live to you to give them vital information about the changes in the insurance industry and how it affects their plan. We're not looking for Joe that's looking for life insurance. I have no desire ever again to buy another internet lead or internet transfer where some El Broco person's looking for $13 a month life insurance, and you shouldn't be either, when they've got all the health problems in the world. I want to deal with people that have money, that already have an insurance contract. Let's continue on. You think about it. You're getting transferred every day 10 plus customers a day. not a fantasy, very real. And we teach you exactly what to show and share. Yes, these are screens. These are screen shares, and you're recording them. And guess what? We want you to stay on point. We have exactly what we want you to do step by step, and we don't want it deviated. And when you come on board with us, guess what? How transparent we are for you. You're able to go into our back office, our library, and look at tons and tons and tons of recorded customer calls. Not only do you see their interaction with us, but more importantly, you learn exactly what you're going to have to do. Oh my God, look at this list. State Farm, Globe Life, Primerica, MetLife. Yes, it goes on and on. How do we compensate you? Well, this is our program, folks. Once you've been vetted and contracted with our carriers, we don't charge you by the lead. You pay for a seat. This is our cost. We pass it on to you. It's a $300 a month admin fee. It does not come out of your commissions, and it's not based on how many leads. That's not a lead cost. That is the admin fee that cost us for the technology. Your lead cost is very simple. You're splitting the case with us. If you did not attend our academy in St. Louis, Missouri, and didn't go through our elite training, we call it boot camp. And believe me, it's a boot camp. You know, I can tell you we're doing one starting tomorrow. We do one every 2 weeks. And I can tell you the first day lasted between 13 and 14 hours. Yeah, kind of like the military. We push you. And by the time we graduate a person, they've taken live customers. I love boot camp. We bring a person in. We do 2 days of intense training. And by Wednesday morning, their headsets are on. They're in their cubicle. They're taking live customers. And we're able to adjust what he or she's doing on the computer, on the phone, talking to that client. If you're a boot camp graduate, you get a 60-40 split. And by the way, every month we do tons of spiffs and bonuses, and some people get as high as a 90-10 split without not too much effort. So let's use a compensation example. Right now, we're averaging over $6,000 target life premium per case. Now, we start you with Freedom Equity Group at a regional vice president contract, 70%. You can increase your contract through their rules and regulations up to 93%. Now, you can be a greeter. This is a person taking inbound calls, and you're not closing. You're using a mentor to close your sale. Well, at 2 sales a week, that's over $8,000 a month. If you can close the sale yourself, just double it. That's $16,800, and that's without boot camp. If you're a boot camp graduate, what can I say? That's $20,000 a month, and all you're doing is sitting in your home or your office taking inbound calls, and the math gets bigger. What if the split wasn't 60-40? What if it was 90-10? Each month, we have standalone incentives to improve your compensation. So let's talk about the product line. These are the hottest insurance contracts in the world. Our flagship index life contract is 100% no cap on its proprietary index. And by the way, that is with Merrill Lynch, with AIG. You can come to the table with Transamerica, Minnesota Life, Prudential, MetLife, I don't care whom it is. There's no insurance company in the world that has the Merrill Lynch choice. Only AIG, because AIG paid a licensing fee to Merrill to have it. It has no spread, and of course it has no losses. We have other index choices out there, like Barclays, no spread, no cap. We have a real estate index from one of our carriers. It's got a spread of 1 1/4. And we have S&P 500 indices with caps from 12, 13 to as high as 15.5. We have e-policy delivery. Think about that. You're not going to deliver it. We want to deliver the policy by the internet. We have with our carriers, we have up to $1 million non-human intervention, non-med, automatic underwriting. We have super term. You're probably wondering, what is super term? That's guaranteed premium life to age 100. However, it is the new stuff. If they die, a benefit's paid out. If they suffer a critical illness, a benefit's paid out. If they suffer a chronic event, a benefit's paid out. It has, at the end of 25 years, return of premium. But if they did not die, if they did not make a claim for being sick, did not make a claim for being chronic, and did not ask for their money back, and they're alive at age 85, they can still have 100% of their death benefit up front. No death. In our term pricing, not only do we have the living benefits, the chronic and the critical on our contracts with AIG, but we are, and we will prove to you, the best pricing in the country on our term. Let's throw in with our carriers, submit advances. That means business in by Thursday or Friday, money back in your checking account Tuesday or Wednesday of the next week. Incentive trips like Rome, Cabo. We got a current trip from our agency right now in our personal group for New York. And yeah, we're taking you to Broadway, not to some lame show, the hardest ticket in New York, Hamilton. So what do you got to do to get started? So let's talk about it. I need you to go through an interview. I'm sorry, a real interview, just you, not group. Not everybody can get into this deal. We have to interview you for certain things. Number one, whoever brought you to the table or myself, I want to hear your voice. You can't be in this deal if we can't understand you. I'm sorry, it's a polite end to the interview if you come to the table and we can't understand what you're saying. Your background matters. I'm sorry, our carriers vet you. There's not going to be a person coming to the table with tax liens or vectors. We are able to be that choosy, and we can't make exceptions. If you've got issues, I'm sorry, we would try to work with you. But, the bottom line is the carriers are not doing that anymore, not to any degree. And to be honest, I want high quality people because our model comes with all the customers you could ever dream of having, and it is the best customer in the United States. We ask you to be contracted with our carriers. That's AIG, LSW's National Life Group, F&G Life, and United Home Life, and American National. Don't tell me, well, I can get with you one company, but I can't move this one. You have to be able to move all the carriers. There's not a shot in the world we're going to let you roadmap our client and sell away. Nothing personal. You must be with our carriers. Now, we do understand if one of the companies turns you down, but you've got to at least apply. You have to have your carriers here. We want you to take at least 10 customer calls per day unless you're a mentor. If you're a mentor, you're in 5 to 7 closing calls per day. We have a daily sales meeting Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 9 a.m. Central Standard Time. You do not have to go to boot camp, but we really want you to go. We have a boot camp every 2 weeks. Most people don't make it without going to boot camp. We want you to be a product of the product. You're going to have an onboarding specialist do an orientation. They're going to assist you with contracting. They're going to work with you on your language. And they're going to assist you and help you own a living benefits policy through our agency. I'm not going to ask you to buy something you can't afford, but we are going to review your contracts, and we do want you to have a policy with our agency. You got to believe in what you physically do. We do have every year a national convention with Freedom Equity Group. And we actually really have an equity share points program. We have an equity share program. Our intent is to build this agency. We're going to sell it, and we're going to share it. We've done it before, and we're in the process of doing it again. There are suitors right now that want to buy our deal. This is like a Mark Cuban thing, and I've been told right now the digital part, there's huge hedge funds now diving in to the digital side of the insurance industry, and we're ahead of everybody because we're not just, like I said, looking for the guy or gal that wants to buy life insurance. We're going after the 149 million policyholders that already have a contract and need to have the new stuff. Now, I want to thank you for taking the time to listen to us because we're going to change your life. If we choose you and you choose us, This is a game changer in your life, because from this day forward, all you have to do is master what we want you to say to the customer, and you never have to worry ever again, ever, of who you're talking to. With that said, have a great, pleasant day. Thank you for listening. Please get back with the person that brought you to the table. Let them get your interview process began.